Well, look what we have here, Limbus Company. 1 minute ago, we have Heishou Don Quixote and Heishou Heathcliff with the Railway 1 Bakak schedule. Now, I am not going to waste anyone's time. We're going to get right into reviewing this kit. Now, number one thing I have to remind people, we always do these kit reviews without numbers. Anything I say or read is subject to change. And most importantly, if you're interested in figuring out how to plays, we will always be playing it on the patch day. So, with that, we are going to be starting with Heathcliff because he is the main banner. Now, instantaneously, Heathcliff is an adept. So this is the third adept we have, and he's actually a non-named character. So the only two are not named characters. We have, obviously, Wei and Zilu. And this is obviously U-Branch, which is Sinclair. Now, first things first, we have Envy, Gluttony, Wrath, and Wrath. I think this is the same, except he has Envy instead of Lust. He is Burn Rupture. Wow. Just in case you couldn't figure that one out. Now, let's read it right now. We have Peckham. Skill 1, 3 coin. On use, if the target has Burn plus Rupture, gain coin power. Gain Clash power for every burn on self. Clash start, apply burn and burn count to target and self. Okay, so here's majorly a actually self-burn ID. On hit, on the second coin, inflict rupture. On the third hit, inflict burn, and inflict rupture count on the third hit. Maybe a +1, maybe a +2. I'm going to assume a +1, most likely. So simple. Skill 2. 3 coin, Gluttony. Mutilating Talons. On use, if the target has burn and rupture, plus rupture, gain coin power. I know some people get annoyed when I say that, even though I mean what I say. Gain Clash power for every X burn on self. Clash start, again, apply burn and burn count to target and self. Okay, so there's a lot of burn count to the target. I wonder if this is like 1, probably like a 1-1 or a 2-2 situation, probably a 1. First coin will inflict rupture. The head hit will inflict burn count. The second coin will inflict burn, but inflict rupture count. Okay, I'm noticing that he's kind of doing intersexual instances of infliction. Like, if he's inflicting burn, he'll do rupture count or rupture on the head. If he does rupture, he'll do burn on the head or something like that. The third coin is on hit gain burn count. This is the first time we have this since Ada Blossom Faust. On hit, deal burn on self times X% of this coin's final damage as Wrath. Heads hit. If this unit has Blood Flame or less than X HP, reuse this coin. Okay, so this coin is going to give him a lot of self-burn. Okay, so that's going to be extremely vital to the kit. Very simple. This is exactly like Sinclair's. So we'll see what the next one does. Now we have the Blood Flame Massacre. Ooh. Unfocused Volley 4 coin. Deal more damage for every burn on self. Simple. Combat start, if this unit has Blood Flame, or if this unit has less than X HP, convert to All Unbreakable, exactly like Sinclair. Before use, at X, Battle Blood Instinct. Oh, this is new. Activate Rooster Rampaging Blades under the Ensanguined Heaven. Dude, who is naming these attacks, bro? Because I need them to have a race. Instead. On use, gain Blood Flame. On use, gain coin power for every X burn plus rupture on target. On use, gain Clash power for every % of missing HP on self. Okay, so you want to be low on HP, much like Ada Blossom Faust. And, Rooster Sinclair. After attack, gain burn count. Now, first coin, apply burn to target and self. Head hit at X HP, take burn damage by burn potency on self. Second hit, apply burn to target and self. At heads hit, again, take burn damage by burn potency on self. Third hit, apply burn, and then take HP % damage burn on self. This is interesting. The fourth coin will inflict rupture count, and the fourth coin will deal on hit, deal burn on self plus burn on the main target % of this coin's final damage as Gluttony against all targets. Okay. Interesting. Is this testing for Kanto 9? Perchance? Is this a Kanto 9 test? Dealing percentage-based damage of your burn? I mean, I'm just saying. Kind of sounds like it. Okay, let's see what the Ascended skill looks like, so we can get a better reference. Here we have the Rooster's Rampaging Blades under the Ensanguined Heaven. Deal more damage for every X burn on self. This is 4 Unbreakables. Deal more damage for every X missing HP on the target and on self, obviously. Blood Flame, coin power again for every burn and rupture on the main target, specifically. Clash power for every missing HP on self. Clash win gain burn potency. Consume Battle Blood Instinct. At more than X burn, consume up to Y burn and heal burn consumed at HP. Okay, so you want to use this when you're at low HP. It'll give you a little bit of a boost. Now this one, the first coin inflicts Rupture count, the second one inflicts burn count, the third inflicts Rupture potency, the fourth inflicts burn, and if this unit has X mana burn, or they have less than a Y HP, reuse this coin. Deal X of this coin's final damage, wrath against all targets. If this is the final coin, heal HP equal to the damage it dealt. Okay, interesting. So this is a 5 coiner. It turns into a 5 coiner with this. Seems pretty strong. I wonder how much. I guess I'm curious to see it. He is kind of just like he just kind of jumps you. He just kind of jumps. He kind of jumps you. Let's have a look at the defense. We have more grub for us. 2 coin gluttony. But I also mentioned I think he's mono slash. Yeah, he's mono slash. Should have mentioned that. We have Clashable Guard on use. Gain Blood Flame this next turn. Cool. If target has X Rupture Burn, gain base power. If the unit has Blood Flame already, gain coin power. The skill deals more damage for every Y HP cumulatively lost in this encounter. You also gain burn count on Clash Start and 1, assumingly Rupture count, and burn. Okay. Very simple so far. Pretty much exactly the same as Sinclair, although I would argue that his application, like the Rupture count, the count application, is nowhere near Sinclair level, at least so far. But that doesn't really matter, because number 1, you're playing Heishou. Second, you are a self-burn ID. And also, this feels more like probably a burn ID. This is more of a burn, you know what I mean? So, we'll see how this goes. Let's have a look at the pattern. Now, here's a 2-page. This is very important. Here's a 2-pager. Let's have a look at Game Foul. Now, obviously, this is going to also include his unique effect with Lord Honglu. When activating the Exalted command, the Lord of Hong Wands gains the following effect as the Heishou Bolus Contamination. On hit with this unit's base attack skill, deal X of Gluttony damage dealt as Wrath damage. I'm sorry? On hit with this unit's base attack skill, deal a percentage of Gluttony damage as Wrath. Is this saying if I deal 100 damage with Lord Honglu, that 10%, let's just say for argument's sake, turns into Wrath damage? Or is that saying it takes 10% and deals it as additional Wrath damage? Now, it doesn't say additional there. So I'm going to assume, and I might be wrong, that if you deal 100 Gluttony damage, it will take 10 of that Gluttony damage and turn it into Wrath. Interesting passive. Very interesting. Also, specifically with Gluttony skills, also it's base attack skills. So that means it's skill 2 and his counter, pretty much. Well, actually, no, because his counter is on a base attack. So it's skill. So skill 2 gains Wrath damage, or converts into Wrath damage. Very interesting. We're gonna have to discuss that and theorize on that one. Cannot be staggered or fall below 1 HP due to burn, and he gains Blood Flame and burn count in the same turn he substitutes or returns it. Okay, yeah, exactly as Sinclair. Now we have his first official passive. We have Flame Rooster's Death Defiance. In this encounter, when this unit takes damage that brings their HP down to 0, nullify that damage, then this unit's HP cannot drop below 1 for the turn. Then at the turn start, heal X burn on self HP and remove all burn. Okay, so he has a free invulnerability. Damn, that's... Yo, for a Heishou to get that, like, not even Lord Honglu. Only Lord Honglu has. I don't think any other Heishou has a self-revive. So that's pretty insane, right? That's not bad at all. His other passive here, which is Bloody Storm of Blades. Gain a combat start, gain offensive up and defensive up for every missing HP on self. Yep, okay, fair enough. Gain Battle Blood Instinct. When meeting one of the following conditions at Clash Start, when this unit hits with a base attack skill... Oh, no, he just gains it. So at Clash Start, he gains Battle Blood Instinct. When this unit hits with a base attack skill, or when this unit takes burn damage, and less HP, gain additional Blood Instinct, or on kill. Okay. We're going to have to read what Battle Blood Instinct does. Here's the support passive. Backed against a river. Turn end, if the ally with the lowest current HP has less than X HP, this unit gains Clash power up next turn. Okay, simple. Doesn't seem that bad. Seems very simple, very standard. This passive, we're going to have to see, obviously, what it does, which is right here. For every stack, deal more damage. Turn end, for every Y stack, gain haste next turn. A very simple, the first thing I can say before we move on, it's very simple. Very simple. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad at all. I think it's very simple. I think he actually might do a lot of damage. He might do a lot of damage. He's kind of got this tank wave clear gimmick. It's kind of like Wei Sang, how Wei Sang has like an AoE clear, but like I feel like the single target damage on this is going to be pretty high. I am interested to see, obviously. It's a bit hard to judge how I feel initially on this. He's got a very simple passive. So his buff's very simple. He gets more damage. His passive's very simple. Offensive level up. I mean, it just seems nice. It seems nice. So, and also, does he just infinitely gain this battle blood? Because from what I'm seeing here, it's just the only time you don't get battle blood is if you don't do anything that turn. Like you don't actively do anything. Because you clash, you get it. When you deal damage or take burn, you deal it, which you should every turn. And then when you kill, you get it. So it seems like you're going to permanently be getting battle blood, which does mean perma haste, and also it stacks. So maybe a max stack of 3, maybe a max stack of 5, maybe. I doubt it'll be 5 haste. Oh no, it might be actually. It could be 5, and then it's every 2, so you get around 2 haste. But you know what? I will hold that off for the in-depth, the TLDR at the end, because we're going to move immediately on right now to Sheepy Eepy Don Quixote. Now, Sheepy Eepy Don Quixote is only a 1-page ID, so we are going to start immediately in this with the fact that she is a mono blunt and rupture sinking. Ooh. Name me the other Dawn ID that came out with Rupture Sinking. I can tell you, it was Queen of Hatred. So let's see how this Dawn does. A 1-page banger, perhaps? Let's see. Well, you know, we will see. So we have Heishou Wei Branch. She has a Lust, Gluttony, Gloom, with a Gluttony counter. And let's say reading. We have Breakthrough. 2 coin. If target has Shattermark, deal more damage. Gain coin power for every X rupture and sinking on the target. The first coin will inflict both rupture and sinking count. The second coin will inflict rupture and sinking. Most likely negative or -1. Neutral or -1 at maximum. I'm going to assume maybe a 1-2 or a 1-1. Seize the momentum, shatter the wall. We have a 3-coin gluttony here. A blunt, gain coin power, again, for every rupture plus sinking on target. Combat style, if this unit has Burgoning of Horns. The Burgoning of Horns. Convert the last coin of this skill into an Unbreakable. The last coin deals more damage based on the Burgoning of Horns stack. Okay, interesting. So we have to keep that in mind. First coin inflicts Rupture count. Second inflicts Sinking count. Third, Potency. And also, if this unit has Burgoning of Horns, deal slash damage equal to X% of this coin's final damage based on the Horn stack. Okay, so she has a extra bonus damage on the final coin, a little bit of Rupture count, a little bit of Sinking count, a little bit of Potency. Seems fine so far. Now we have Crushing Horns, a 4-coin Gluttony. Coin power again for every Rupture and Sinking on the target. If this unit has Burgoning of Horns, convert all to Unbreakable and deal more damage based on the stack. Okay, and you also gain the Burgoning of Horns stack. The second coin will inflict both Rupture count and Sinking count. The third coin will inflict Potency on Rupture and Sinking. And the fourth coin will deal more damage based on any of the panic type changing effects on the character, on the target. Deal slash damage equal to X of this final coin's damage. If target has the Shatter Mark, deal even more slash damage. On hit, inflict Shatter Mark next turn. If the target has any of the panic type changing effects, this also inflicts Sinking count. Interesting. Okay, I'm starting to believe maybe Shadow Mark is a SP changing effect. I can see a little bit here, but I won't read into it. Interesting. Seems good. Seems decent, in fact, I would argue. It kind of reminds me of a bit of a W Corp Heathcliff skill 3. This is kind of the first thing I think of, but like a sinking version of that. Okay. I can also tell that she is much more of a sinking focus. I feel like I can just kind of reach that, especially because she has interaction with panic types. Kind of reminds me of Hanafuna Ishmael, where I would treat her more of like a sinking because she has more sinking like focus on the kit instead of tremor. But we have the I Shall Crush All. That's standard in our way. 2-coin Clutchable Guard. Final power for every Rupture and Sinking on target. Burgeoning Horns next turn, and you inflict potency of Rupture and Sinking on each individual coin. Now we move on to the first passive. Now this is the combo attack, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can read onto this. Upon activating the Exalted Command, with this unit, the Lord of Hongwon Lu gains the following effect. by the contamination. Inflict sinking upon inflicting rupture potency or count by using a skill. Congratulations, Lord of Honglun, Lord of Honglu, the Lord of Hongyuan Honglu can inflict like 4 statuses now. Or if this unit is also substitute or return, gain burgeoning abhorrence. Okay, so she also wants to be subbed in a little bit. So yeah, sinking upon inflicting rupture potency or count. I think that's literally every skill. So he just inflicts sinking now. So he inflicts burn, sinking, gluttony, and he gains poise. So he's a 4 status ID pretty much. Here's her real passive. Explosive battering ram. Deal minus target's SP divided by X more damage against targets at less than 0 SP. Deal more damage for every X rupture and sinking on the target. Strengthen this effect and its max value against targets without SP. Okay. If this unit has Burgeoning of the Horns, the last coin of this unit's base attack skills deal more damage. When attacking a skill slot equipped with a defense coin, deal even more damage with the last coin. When clashing with a clashable guard skill, gain clash power. Interesting. When clashing with a clashable guard skill, gain clash power. Is she like an anti-defensive Heishou? Is that what I'm seeing here? Is she like anti-defense? Like you send her, the last coin is like deals with all the shields and the counters and stuff like that. Well, let's have a look at the support passive. Ally with the fastest speed. On hit with a base attack skill against enemies with X, rupture count, or sinking count, inflict defense level down. Okay, simple. Defense level down is always nice to have. X amount of rupture count or sinking count, so you can be used on either teams. You're probably going to get more use out of this with sinking count, because it's way easier to get sinking count on the team. But maybe, who knows? We'll see. Now we have the Shadow Mark. So this is the big gimmick of hers. This is a Shadow Mark. Take more damage from Gluttony and Gloom skills. Units with the SP change their panic type to Shadow Mark. Okay, so it is a panic type. Units without SP lose clash power. That's not bad. Turn end reduces stack. This effect is not cumulative. Inflicting it will replace the current value with the inflicted value. Okay. Apply the units without SP condition to certain types of enemies. Yep. What does it do? So Shadow Mark panic type effects. So low morale causes lose clash power and defense level, and panic loss. Panic, you lose clash power and also lose more defense level. So immediately, this is like, you know what this reminds me of? This is like Tremor Chain, but SP. So this is like Sinking Chain. And you know what? Hey, clash power down for free on a target is not bad. So the initial, yeah, like it's not bad at all initially. W, let's see what the buff is here. Burgeoning of the Horns, this unit's skills inflict more rupture and sinking potency. Turn and reduce a stack. Okay, and that is the Don Quixote kick. Obviously, much shorter than Heathcliff's on here. First impressions, she seems pretty cool. I like this gimmick where her final coin, it's like the final coin of all of them is like the big one. So it does more damage. She inflicts sinking on you. So she wants you to, it seems like she's like target. She is the one who like triggers the defensive skills. So like, you know, Teddy or bosses that have counters like Jiamu or, you know, kind of things like that. This kind of seems like who you send out to deal with it. And I like that interesting aspect about it because obviously if you inflict sinking on a target, the character will have a weaker defensive, right? So that's kind of like hand in hand. First impressions, I mean, she seems very fun. I think she is more tailored to a sinking focus than a rupture focus. I feel like it, obviously because she has more sinking focus, like with her panic gimmick and her, I mean, she does inflict more sinking and potency. Obviously, rupture count is not really a thing you should worry about when it comes to using the Heishou squad, because if you have one rabbit, you're good, pretty much, right? One of them, it could be Zilu, it could be Ryoshu, it could be Otis. Heck, if you use, you know, any of them, or the rest of the team that exists too now, you're pretty good. You'll be golden. So the rupture count seems pretty fine. The sinking count is sinking count. You know, it's sinking is very easy to get. Sinking count is not really an issue. You can use anything and get sinking count. But yeah, she does seem to have a lot of sinking focus. I think that's cool. And also, I like that it makes Law Honglu inflict sinking. So let's get to the TLDRs. TLDR, Heathcliff, final thoughts. he seems to be a good, like, aggressive, like, what's the word? Send him out to die kind of deal. You know what I mean? Like, he wants to be low HP, right? So help him out. Send him out to die. Let him, he won't die because he has a passive that prevents him from dying anyway. Send him out. Go. And on single target, I think there's also going to be a lot of damage. He looks like he gets a lot of buff. He looks like he'll get a lot of buffs from being low HP. Also being a self-burn. So this is more focused on being self-burn. His inflictions, I would argue, more burn focused than rupture focused in this. Although they are alternating. As you can see, he does inflict more burn count with his skills, on clashing specifically. And he does rely more on having burn on himself. And he relies more on his damage bonuses by having burn on himself. And it being low on HP, right? So I would definitely focus this on the burn. You could use him and, honestly, him, Sinclair, and Honglu. If you use all three of them, you could probably stack burn pretty gosh darn easily on enemies. You don't need any other burn unit. I feel like it, because Sinclair focuses more on the status application side of things, while also being, a big damage dealer, and he's also more rupture, I would say. Rupture. He's a more mix of rupture burn. While Heathcliff, he does have rupture burn, but he definitely focuses more on the burn side of things. And then Honglu will also be inflicting burn due to his Sinclair passive, right? So, yeah, I don't have any issues with this. This is one of those things where we have to see how it plays in person. Because obviously he has a lot of little micro buffs, right? And those micro buffs will add up, and we'll see how it feels. To be honest with you, excited for it, obviously, and we will be pulling it. Don Quixote, a one-page wonder. I like the SP shadow mark. I think I'm going to stick to my gut saying that it's kind of like the tremor chain of syncing, and I think that's fair, because you know what? You're already going to inflict, they're already going to be low clashing anyway due to not having any syncing, so why not lower the clash power down even further? And this also can assist Heishous as well with, making sure they land their like defensive skills or super buffs and stuff like that. I would argue that she is more focused on the syncing side of things while also having rupture support. You could probably use her on her own without Lord of Hongluan if you want. But you can use her, and I think the way I would use her is I would sub her in to inflict the Shadow Bound and the Shadow Mark, and to reduce the enemy's sinking a little bit to kind of like a head start. I think using her at the start of a team, and kind of, especially against an SP enemy, getting that early Shadow Mark off, and building up her horns, and getting a little bit of that SP, get the the enemy to like -5, -10. Once you start snowballing, you inflict the mark, sub her out, maybe you bring Heathcliff in, right, whatever, and then, or if you want to keep her, and that's how I feel like I'd use her on a Heishou team. And then if they're like preparing a defensive skill, or like a big counter problem, like, they have a lot of counters, sub her back in with, sub her out, sub her in, and then let her attack the clashable guard skills, or clashable defensives in general, right, because she does better when she's targeting defensives, right? So yeah, she kind of feels like that, like, initiating kind of defensive breaker, and I think that's a cool gimmick to have with her. And yeah, that's pretty much my opinions on these two. I'm very interested to see who, what they fit into the Heishou team, because there's a lot of Heishou now already. So the whole team is going to be filled up now. I think you have some pretty good variety of who you can bring. You got the sea branch, you got the Mao branch, you got the horse. Now you got 2 roosters, and now you got the goat, or the sheep in this instance. She's very fluffy, I must admit, by the way. And yeah, so I think that's going to be it. And if you guys want to, if you made it this far, we'll be obviously doing in-depth discussion on the live streams after. And yeah, that is going to be it, guys. So yeah, that's it. See ya.